What's going on, y'all? It's JD Piquel with On 3 today on the Hard Count. What is the immediate impact for USC and Lincoln Riley after announcing their move to the Big Ten Conference? Welcome into the Hard Count, the people's show for everything that you know and that you love about college football. It happens here on a nearly daily basis. Nick Brake is doing the heavy lifting, help drive the show at my Twitter page at JD Piquel. So here's the deal. It is now official. USC and UCLA will both be joining the Big Ten Conference in 2024 at the earliest. So there's a lot of things to talk about in terms of the future for USC and UCLA. A lot of things that's going to be coming down the pipe that we can look to in coming years and speculate and this, that, and the other. But what about today? What about at this very minute? What changes for USC specifically as a program? Because that brand, like we talked about previously on this channel, one of the most recognizable, one of the most significant and impactful in not just college football, but all of sports. So for USC, what's different today that maybe that wasn't necessarily there yesterday? And I think the first thing we got to look at is recruiting. What is the recruiting boost that USC is going to get now from joining the Big Ten Conference? And to me, it comes down to what coaches now can't say about USC when they're negatively recruiting. Because previously, if you're in Alabama or you're in Ohio State or you're one of those big boys, you come in there and say, you could go to USC, but you're playing in the Pac-12 conference. You're playing in the lesser conference, which has been stereotypically known as with the nature of college football today. You can't say that anymore about USC. USC can walk into any recruit's living room and say, you want to come play against the best? Come to USC. We're going to the Big Ten. And so I think that's really going to bode well for recruits, honestly. And I don't think it's so much a matter of being able to stay close to home for their games, because you're still going to play a lot of games in the Coliseum. If you're from California, you're a recruit, you're still going to get to play a fair amount of home games. You're still going to play UCLA. But the fact that now coaches can't walk in and knock the Pac-12 conference in association with USC and negatively recruiting, that is huge and only going to bolster the Trojans going forward. The second piece of this, I think it gives Lincoln Riley a little bit more respect. Not that anybody that knows the game like we do is really knocking Lincoln Riley for leaving Oklahoma and going to USC, because there's a lot that goes into that. But remember when that news broke that he was going to USC? And a lot of people were talking about, wow, he doesn't want to go to the SEC. He's scared of the competition. He's running. That's why he's going to the Pac-12. Folks, I have a really, really hard time believing that Lincoln Riley took this job with USC with no inkling that they were potentially joining the Big Ten Conference. Moves like this don't happen overnight. This wasn't a weekend call between USC and Big Ten. They decided, hey, maybe we'll make this happen. Let's see if we can throw something together. I feel very confident in assuming this was months, if not more, in the works. And so for Lincoln Riley, I'm not saying the Big Ten's the SEC, but the Big Ten's not the Pac-12. Just the fact of the matter. So for Lincoln Riley, I don't think it's fair to say anymore, oh, he was running from competition. In a lot of ways, I think some people owe him an apology. Now, I made that tweet last night, and a lot of Oklahoma fans let me know they would not be apologizing to Lincoln Riley, and that's fine. I think there's probably some bridges that have been more or less burned there. But Lincoln Riley was not running from anything. Let me make that clear. And I think that honestly probably helps his reputation at least, going forward. Not that there was anything necessarily super wrong with it to begin with, but you can no longer say, wow, go play for a coach that's running from the SEC. I think that narrative is more or less dead. Then finally, the marketing piece with USC is different than it was yesterday. USC has never struggled with marketing. They've never been a brand that needs any help. But in terms of the appeal at different regions, I think they probably bolstered that. And obviously, they're going to bring in a bunch of money going to the Big Ten and this, that, and the other. We talked about that already. I mean, the media deal is going to be enormous. But talking about what the impact is just for today, think about the postseason awards for USC. You have a lot of other people that are now interested in what USC is doing because they're going to come to the Big Ten Conference. So for a guy like Caleb Williams, maybe you have a couple extra eyeballs on you when you're playing Pac-12 After Dark this coming fall. Maybe that helps a Jordan Addison repeat as a Biletnikoff Award winner. Maybe it helps Caleb Williams in the Heisman Trophy voting. I don't know, but I think it's fair to say there is going to be more intrigue around USC They didn't need much more help, but in terms of eyes watching them in Ohio and Michigan and Indiana, I mean, different states that aren't typically turning on USC football, they're probably keeping a closer eye than they were before this move became official. So a lot of things to unpack, a lot of things that are still going to unravel when it comes to the USC and UCLA move to the Big Ten Conference. I've already said I'm for it. I think it helps USC and UCLA. I think it ultimately gets them the respect that they are owed. But today, USC is better on the recruiting trail. It gives Lincoln Riley a whole new reputation in different parts of the country. And ultimately, it makes USC much more marketable and should at least boost them in the very slightest when it comes to these postseason accolades. Excited to watch it all unfold. We will keep you up to date here on On3. That's it for us here on The Hard Count. Appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter at JDPikel to stay up with every single thing we're doing here. Don't want you to miss a minute of it. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.